Picture this. You're floating in the ocean and a jellyfish drifts past you. No brain, no bones, not even a heart, just a translucent blob pulsing through the water. And somehow, this creature has been around for over 500 million years. It survived 5 mass extinctions. It outlasted the dinosaurs. So here's the question. How does something this simple manage to reproduce and spread across every ocean on Earth? The answer is stranger than you might think. Because jellyfish don't just reproduce one way, they reproduce in 2 completely different ways, sometimes even switching between them like flipping a biological switch. Let's start with what most people picture when they think of jellyfish. That floating, bell-shaped creature with trailing tentacles. That's actually just one stage of the jellyfish life cycle. It's called a medusa. And yes, it can reproduce, but not in the way you'd expect. Most jellyfish medusa are either male or female. The males release sperm into the water. These females collect it, and their eggs get fertilized. Sounds pretty normal so far, right? But here's where it gets weird. Those fertilized eggs don't grow into baby jellyfish. Not yet. Instead, they hatch into tiny swimming larvae called planulae. Imagine something smaller than a grain of rice, covered in hair-like structures called cilia, drifting through the ocean currents. The planula swims for a few days, maybe a week, searching for the perfect spot. A rock, a shell, the bottom of a boat, anything solid. When it finds that spot, it does something remarkable. It stops swimming. It attaches itself, and then it transforms. The planula grows into something that looks nothing like a jellyfish. It becomes a polyp. Think of a tiny tube with a mouth on top, surrounded by tentacles. It looks more like a miniature sea anemone than a jellyfish. And here's the thing. This polyp can stay like this for months, sometimes years, just sitting there, feeding on plankton, completely stationary. But the polyp isn't done, because this is where jellyfish pull off their most incredible trick. When conditions are right, when the water temperature changes or food becomes abundant, the polyp begins to transform again. Horizontal grooves appear along its body, stacking up like a tower of pancakes. Each groove gets deeper, each section more defined, until finally, one by one, these sections break free and swim away. Each piece is a brand new jellyfish, a tiny medusa, barely visible to the naked eye, but complete, ready to grow. This process is called strobilation, and a single polyp can produce dozens of jellyfish this way, clone after clone after clone. One species, the immortal jellyfish, can reverse the process. When it gets old or stressed, it can revert back into a polyp and start the cycle all over again. Theoretically, forever. This flexibility is part of why jellyfish are so successful. They can adapt their reproduction to whatever the ocean throws at them. Warm water, cold water, plenty of food, barely any food. There's a strategy for each scenario. And this is why, despite having no brain and no bones, jellyfish have outlived nearly everything else in the ocean. They don't just reproduce, they transform. They clone themselves. They adapt. They survive. So the next time you see a jellyfish drifting by, remember this. That simple blob you're looking at is the result of one of the most complex and ancient reproductive strategies on Earth. A creature that rewrites the rules of life and death. A survivor that's been perfecting its craft for 500 million years. And it does it all without a single thought.